Welcome to the Mompreneur Nation podcast. You found your tribe for all things motherhood and entrepreneurship. Welcome. This one's going to be fun. I'm just letting you know this is about to be, you're about to need to buckle up your seats because this is about to be a lot of fun. We are talking today with Rachel Davidson, speaker, author, diver, all the things, adventurer, all the things. Rachel, welcome to the show. I'm so honored to have you.
I am so glad, Megan. I have so much respect for you. You inspire me. You really do. I love your family, what you do, your business. It is honestly, I'm so glad that we're sitting here together this morning and we'll just spend time talking. So I'm so grateful to be here.
I love it. Me too. I'm so grateful to have met you. A true honor. So listen, tell us right now about you and well, before we get to the book, just tell us about you.
Okay, so about me. Yes, my name is Rachel Davidson. I was born in the Amazon region of Brazil. So I moved to Louisiana. This is my mom's hometown, Gonzales. And so I moved here when I was 10. I didn't know English very well. I ended up living in Lafayette for a year and did terrible in school because I couldn't even understand the Cajun accent back then. It was really tough. But of course, you can see I speak English now. I went to college in Dallas, CFNI, to study music, and I ended up coming back home, met my husband Matt, and we've been married for 15 years. We have 4 children, ages 9 all the way to 14. So it's a lot of fun in my house. I wrote my book, Dangerous When a Woman Becomes Fearless. I've been promoting it and just going on tour and doing speaking engagements. So it's just been a wild, adventurous ride, checking off all these goals and dreams, like you said. Yes, scuba diving, skydiving, rock climbing, and all the adventurous things that are crazy. But it's been so much fun. I'm excited. And now I'm here. I'm spreading a message of just living a fearless life and to where people can truly thrive and reach the level that they want to reach to take care of their family and community and churches and businesses. So that's a little bit about me.
I love that. I think one of the best parts about whenever we first met is all your fun adventures and your ideas. And I'm naturally like, you know, which makes our
I know.
relationship so fun. Um, but as you told in your book, which is wonderful, you weren't always that way, right? You weren't always this. Let me go live, be adventurous and stuff. There was a time that you were a little much like me, just a little bit more skeptical, or maybe a little bit more apprehensive. Can you tell us about that?
Whenever I was younger, yes, I was more of the extroverted. I have one sister. She was a little bit more introverted. I was willing to take risks, but I wasn't a problem child. I was just one of those kids that wanted to test. I wanted to see how life really worked and how far I could truly go. And it wasn't until I was in my teen years that I hit that awkward teenage depression, suffered with anxiety, suffered with people's opinions. I just cowered. I was just so insecure. I had very little confidence. Didn't even know what I wanted to be when everybody's graduating high school and it's like I don't even know what I want for myself. Completely lost. And that was by far one of the lowest moments of my life. But then when I started just researching and growing little bit by little, I am now totally a mature version of what I was as a child. But now I just make better decisions. I don't jump off of trees. I'm not doing these crazy things like that anymore. Now it's just taking measures for me to just try to see how far I can go. How much can I really accomplish? And if I can inspire other people to do the same thing and reach their peak potential, mountaintop experience, it is that drives me every day. I can't wait to get up. I can't wait to just do something to inspire people to go after their dreams. It really drives me. That is a desire, it's a passion, and I love it.
So talk to me about the book, because you wrote about a book called Courageous Woman living a fearless life. Um, but there was incidents throughout the books, and I won't give all the details away, but that really was like a catalyst to this living life of adventure, new perspective that you had. Can you share a little bit about us? What inspired you to get to this place and write the book?
So, do you guys remember back in 2020, COVID, everyone was shut in their houses, everybody was quarantining, and because I'm high energy and I like to do things, there was no way I was going to be locked up in my house, sitting on a couch, just watching TV all day. It would drive me nuts. I would not be, I couldn't do that. So, I've always wanted to write a book, and I had been through so much in my journey. And I thought, hey, wouldn't this be the perfect time? I have time. It's not like we can go to restaurants and hang out with family. I'm in my house. So that's when I decided to go ahead and write the book. I did the outline, and a lot of stuff happened between publishing. By the time I got to publishing and when I first started, I had there was tragedies that happened that it really impacted my family, and we struggled, and there was just moments where I didn't even know if we were going to make ends meet. But also during that time, I just kept pushing and driving. I just kept remembering what I wanted to accomplish in my life. So in my book, I talk about how I built a tree house in my backyard and I rented out on Airbnb. And it's so fun meeting people. I'll tell you, at the beginning, it is scary because you're like, strangers, I don't know you. But then
Stranger danger.
you
Yeah.
yeah, so then you kind of get used to it after you do it so many times. And one of the things I talk about in my book is if something scares you, you don't run away from it. You actually run towards it. That is what helps people overcome the fear, because most fears that we have, we've learned them through our experiences,
Yeah.
things that happen to us. So we end up, our brains log like, oh, I don't want to get hurt. I want to make sure I'm safe. And so we end up producing so many fears, from fear of man, fear of failure, fear of us ruining our reputation and us not being able to recover, fear of poverty and living our
Yeah.
lives broke. And there's so many fears that we end up developing, and we end up putting ourselves in our own cage, in our own box, to where you really become just paralyzed and you don't even want to have courage to go out there and try again, because you're like, I failed here, I gave it all I had, I put all my money towards this and it failed again. And so it takes courage to pick yourself back
Yes.
up again and dust it off and keep trying until eventually you push through to get the success. So in my book, I talk about that. I talk about how finances, it was a big deal. I know what it's like to have $3.24 in my checking account after being an adult, and digging through my car seat just trying to dig for coins just to get a bean burrito at Taco Bell. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to be rejected. I know I have a lot of similarities with other people, and sometimes we feel like we are the only ones that are going through that. But really, those negative thoughts, like, we're creating that.
Yeah.
I've never had someone call me, pick up the phone and say, hey, Rachel, this is going to fail. That is the worst work you've ever done. No one's ever done that to me. But sometimes when you go to bed, you're like, was that good enough? Was that
Is it
really,
mine?
was that the right
Yeah.
thing? Did I say the right thing? Did I just sound like an idiot to this audience? All these thoughts that go through our head. That's what my book actually, I was going to put it here. That is what my book, that's what I cover, and that's what it looks like. It's on,
Ooh,
this one's
love
been
it.
worn, as you can see. I got coffee stains on it. I take the I take it everywhere. But yes, I talk about finances as one of the things. My son was playing in the backyard and he got bit by a water moccasin. And I cover that story. It's crazy. So in the
Yeah.
hospital, we're getting a $54,000 bill because his anti-venom is $13,000 a vial. And you can't say, no, no, we'll just pass on that. I mean, this is a life and
Take
death
one.
situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like you don't have a choice. Bad things happen. Doesn't matter. You could be a good person, bad person, Christian, non Christian. Bad things will happen. Circumstances come in your life when you least expect it, and it literally knocks you to the ground and it kicks you in your gut while you're down there. It's like, no, no, you haven't gotten battered enough. Let me just go a little bit further. Coming home from the hospital and I'm driving my husband's truck the same day that my son gets bit by a snake and I get rear-ended by an 18-wheeler, and I'm thinking this is the craziest thing. This is the craziest day ever. Horrible. But it's things like that that I had to make a decision, Megan. Am I going to live my life in fear? Am I going to shut myself
Yeah.
up in my house, never try, never even want to try to go after my dreams and goals? I could make that choice. But I also see the flip side where if I don't go after my dreams and goals, the pain of regret is more
Yeah.
expensive than
Yes.
anything. We would
Yeah.
try to save ourselves from getting hurt. And so I do cover quite a bit. I get vulnerable. Because I wanted people, I wish somebody would have told me the things that I've learned. I've had to beat my head against the wall and it's like, oh, knock myself down. It's like, okay, I shouldn't do that. I should do this. And I wish I had a podcast like this where I could listen, learn from other
Right.
women who are rocking it, who are thriving, who are having happy marriages, who are having a good balance between work and family, and they're not overdoing it. People that aren't trying to just go conquer the world and then they leave their family behind. So this to me is so important, what you're doing, just this message, this platform, this podcast. I
Mhm.
think people need to hear what you're having to say, and this is just a good opportunity. And I hope that they get the book because it's this thick with all kinds of stories. There's no way we could even cover all of them just within the short time that we have. But it's a good book. You'll get to know me. I become real. I'm just telling you, I've suffered. I know what it's like to feel like a total loser. I know what it's like to have no money. I know what it's like to get a little bit of success and you think, oh, this is it. I've made it. And wham, you fall right back down
Oh,
again.
yeah.
And having to get up over and over and over again, that resilience, the persistence that we all need to really get the prize at the end. That is much harder to do than what most people will admit. No one wants to admit. You look at social media, everybody looks perfect. Oh, your life is great.
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
want to be like that. But behind the scenes, you have no idea how much suffering, how much we try to put a front. But in reality, is like, this is the real world. We have bills to pay that come in consistently every single month. You have kids that don't always behave. You have a mess in a house. You're trying to keep yourself together. You're
All of
trying
it.
to build a business. Being a woman in today's day and age, it is not the easiest thing. It's not.
No.
Neither is it for a man. I'm not trying to bash any person, but it is not easy to be a woman with all these different arms that we try to just juggle everything. However, I also know that God made women so resilient and He
Yes, he
made
did.
them so equipped to be able to handle things that other men could not handle. Childbirth, I mean, come on. There's things that we are made so strong and so filled with so many skills and talent and gifts to be able to immediately. We turn into nurses one moment. We turn into the errand lady. Let's go soccer mom. We turn into,
Right?
good
Ubers.
wife. When I look at women, even you, it's like, God, wow, what a masterpiece. How
Mm.
amazing it is that what women can do.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
are. We are absolute masterpiece, and that's the way God created us, and it's beautiful. One thing you touched on, and you said so much fear is learned. I think when you're born, there's like two fears. I know one of them is falling. I'm not sure what the other one is, but everything else is learned, right? So it's things that we have gone through in our life or experienced in our life, maybe as a child, some things you might not even realize, which again is why therapy and counseling is not such a terrible taboo thing. It's actually quite
Right?
great. But there's so many things in your life that hinder you and cause you to have these kinds of fears. I have always, as for myself personally, I've always been a bit of an anxious person. I don't know if you do the Enneagram or, I know there's a lot of love and hate about Enneagram, but I know I'm like Enneagram 6/7. And the 6 is very loyal, but also a little anxious and also like driven by fear and stuff. And when I read it, I understood so much about myself because even as a child, when my mom would leave and go to the grocery store, this was before cell phones. you know?
Yeah.
And she'd say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'll be back." And I'm thinking 30 minutes and 2 hours goes by and she's not back. And in my mind, most people will think, well, maybe she went to another store. I'm calling the hospitals. I can still tell you the number to the local hospital right down the street because I would just call every 15 minutes, be like, "Do you have a patient named D. Howard?" Like, I, my mind always goes straight from here to here. I've always been that kind of person, and I don't know that it's attached to any event or situation. I've just been, that person. When I then left and worked at the news, which
Mhm.
I love, but you're faced with so much stuff on a day to day, which also then compounds the already concerns and fears that you have. And so as I look back on my life and I think, I am anxious and I could tell sometimes in the things that my kids would say, that they would say, "Oh no, I can't do this or I can't do that." And I'm like, "You know what? They're probably although I'm very conscious about what I say, but even if you're not saying it, they're still sensing and picking up what you do, and how you respond to things and how you act to things." So that's something that's always been, in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of kids, it's about to get loud in here. Sorry. Um,
Bring them
it's
in.
mom life. But it's these things we have all learned, and I think it's really important to sit back and really listen to yourself speak. Listen to the things that come out of your mouth. Listen to the way that you say things. Whenever situations come up, I have stopped in the last couple months and really just stopped to listen to, like, why did you just say that? When
Mhm.
someone says something, why did you initially say no? Why did you initially do this? And really, when you think about it, a lot of it is tied back to fear-based moves, fear-based things. And why is that? It's the way that we have always been, the way that and we have to retrain our minds every day.
That's
God
right.
created us wonderful. Also, our minds don't naturally go to the happy, simple thoughts, right? Even back to the caveman days, our minds are geared and wired to protect ourselves. So we have to daily remind ourselves, renew that mind and think, why am I thinking this way? Let me challenge myself. Let me, instead of saying, no, I'm not doing that, which typically to your text, I do still say that, but, but in situations, it's important for us to push ourselves beyond our boundaries. Am I making this decision because I should, or am I making a fear-based decision? Am I
Right.
not going for this opportunity because it's not the best thing, or is this a fear-based situation? You know? Fear of success or fear of failure. I feel a lot of times it's more fear of success because we know a lot of times what failure looks like, you know? We know what it's like to not do well.
We have a book that we can write just on all the things that we failed on. I know. It
Right?
is so true. I've failed so many times. This path now is finally starting to gain traction. I tried so many businesses. When I was a young little girl, I think it was 8 years old, my uncle used to own a produce grocery store. And I got the idea with his my cousin. I said, let's go to the garden. He would grow all his vegetables. I would go to his garden. I would go take the cilantro, cut it. I would take all the green onions, scallions, and then I would go sit in front of his little grocery store and I would just sell vegetables. And I probably didn't even know pricing. So it was practically giving it away. And he shut that down because he's like, you're taking my inventory and then you're sitting in front of my store selling my stuff for nothing. He's like, you guys go play. So I think that was my first failed business. I also failed at, I thought, okay, I'm at home. I'm a mom. I'm going to make soap and I'm going to sell it at a farmer's market. I could not even make soap right. And I just lost money on that one. I thought I'll sell on eBay. Let me make little pillowcase dresses. Failed. Did not work. I think you're losing money just by the time you pay shipping and then you have to pay taxes and
Oh
all
gosh.
this.
Yes, all of
Failed.
that.
I tried to make gift baskets, failed at that. I've gone down the path of trying to do all kinds of things that have just failed. And what really worked is after I met my husband Matt, he told me about this book, and you may have heard of it. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Robert Kiyosaki.
Mhm.
And he's a real estate investor. So that was my first introduction to any type of real estate business because I thought, well, most people, how do you even buy a house? I had no clue, zero knowledge in the real estate market. But that book really changed me and it challenged me to start. Now in the future, my husband and I, we do own a real estate company, and now we invest, we do wholesales, we do flipping, and then of course I do Airbnb, so we'll do rents and things of that along those lines. But now that I've gone through all of that, I finally found something that I'm kind of sinking in. I'm starting to learn the craft even more, becoming very wise, making better decisions. But I have two things. I do real estate, and then of course I do my book. So I have two parts. I will either help my husband build the real estate company, and then when I have other time, I'm actually creating additional streams of income, which is going to be Airbnb. Now it doesn't pay my house note or my bills, but it helps. So every little thing that I
No.
do is putting money in the pot so that I can get more free time to be able to do things like this. So
Yeah.
that's what I do, and
Yeah.
it's not easy being a business owner. You want to throw up some days, and then you're like, "Yay, I'm doing awesome today." Sometimes it's feast, sometimes it's famine. I go
Yeah.
without, I go hungry so that I can continue to work. It's like there's a scripture that even talks about a man's hunger drives him on. So I get hungry. I lose weight because I'm not eating, because I'm conserving my whatever money I have left, and I'm reinvesting that inside of my business, whatever it is that I do. I have tried, oh, so many things. One of the last things that I did was I was paying for recording studios because I've always enjoyed music, just like you. Loved it, played flute growing up and played the oboe, went symphony. I've done that. I moved to Dallas, studied music there for vocals, came back home. Now I actually play drums. I found out it's my favorite instrument. I love percussion. It's so awesome. But just going through thinking, oh, I'm going to make it, and I just want to be famous enough so I can go on tour. And I dumped so much money in recording studios, and it was so hard that I was like, I can't keep going down this road anymore. I keep dumping money into something, and clearly this is not the right time because I'm having a family that I'm having to balance, take care of. It just wasn't working out. So that was, but I still do music. I'm not pursuing it as a career full time. Now I'm putting all of my energy into writing my second book. So that is now in the works. I've not announced that publicly, but I've already
Woo!
second book. I've already got several chapters in. I just finished earning my commercial contractor's license. So what's neat is that I want to encourage women, find something that scares you, like think of a big dream and
Yeah.
then go after it. Go
Yeah.
think bigger. Whatever it is that you think even bigger. And then if you fail, go back and try it again. And if I were to tell you, you might fail 100 times, but on the 101st try, you're going to break through and you're going to get it.
Mhm.
That is how it's been for me. I go after these dreams and goals and I fail, but then I go back and I just keep doing, I keep pushing, punching until I accomplish that goal. And I don't move on to anything else until that goal is finished. So now the test that I took, it has allowed me to be able to operate in 17 states across the US as a commercial contractor. I got into law. I started studying real estate law. I finished the course, and then I started studying the Louisiana notarial law. Yes, I've done the skydiving. I will never do it again. I think when I was on Pinterest one day, I was looking like, what's the bucket list items? What do people want to do? And so I just wanted to start checking it off so I could get that experience. I did skydiving. I'll never do it again. That was too much. Way too much. And if you skydive, have fun. I will be down on the ground videoing, but I don't want to do it again. Scuba diving, same thing. Almost drowned, felt like being down 35 feet, which I'm putting that story of what happened in Mexico. And it's like you want to panic because you're thinking, I don't want to drown. I want to live. And so I
Yeah.
talk about that story, but going back to just dreams and goals, I think people dream too small. I think we
Yeah.
just think too small because number one, you don't want to fail. And then, like you said, we have these learned fears, these learned things that you're like, I don't want to get hurt
Yeah.
again. I don't want to lose again. But that's really the key. You think business owners and people out there, they don't show it to you, but they suffer behind the scenes. And then they have to come
True.
back, put a
It's so
nice
true.
face on and act like, let's go. We're gonna just continue to push through and we're doing great and we're growing. And you have to put that face on and keep going. But being in the position that we're in, you've got to dream bigger. You have
You
to.
do.
Don't dream so small. Make it even bigger, because once you do accomplish and you check that off, you're going to feel like huge. You're going to just, your confidence will shoot through the roof. And
Hmm.
you're going to think, if I look how hard that was, that college degree that I just couldn't seem to finish. And now I pushed through and I actually did it. And then your brain just wants to explode, almost like, whoa, I just had this most amazing mountaintop experience. And if I could do that, what else can I go after? Like, what else
What
can
else can
I,
I do?
if that's not my limitation, if that's what I thought was such a big goal, and I didn't even know if I could make it and actually did it, well, I still have, hey, I woke up today. That means that my purpose is not done yet. I still have another opportunity to make a difference and positively impact those around me. Let's see, what can we go for next?
Yep.
So my list, I have a private thing on my cell phone, and I actually got this idea from Steve Harvey. He said to write down every single thing, every bucket list item, every dream, every goal, everything you've ever wanted. He's like, write down at least 100 things. And so I just decided to try it out. I sat down, Megan, that first day, I got over 300 things written down that I wanted to do. Just wanted to do it. Then what he says as well is, you take it before you go to bed at night, you read your list. And when you wake up in the morning, you read your list. And if you can do that and create a habit out of it, you'll start noticing that your list is getting checked off. You'll actually see, because what you put in your brain, we talked about the renewing of the mind,
Yes.
what you see
Yeah.
daily, what you keep repetition, 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 that is going to it's going to manifest in the physical world, because
Yep.
as a man thinketh in his heart, so is
So he
he.
is. Yeah.
Yep. So that's really a key. People want to dream bigger, and then look at it often. Write it down, physically write it down, not just the notes on your phone. Physically write it down, because there are studies done that prove when your brain sees your hand writing it down, it remembers it better than just typing it on a notes on your phone.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
you write it down, you look at it, meditate on it, just start imagining yourself already achieving that goal, and it's amazing what happens, the results that come from that.
It's so true. And, it's interesting what you just said, as a man thinks in his heart and in his mind, that's what he is. Our brains are like, we are a computer and our brains are the PCU. It is what is leading us and it's what's driving us. And it's like we put these, limitations on ourselves. And I think one of those limitations is that I am like, I'm not, or I'm too old, or I haven't reached the goal by yet, or we have timelines of which we think we should be successful, or which we think, and we are both, well, there's no need to say our age, but we are definitely not in our 20s. We're not 30 or 31 or 32, we're a little bit older than that. Um, and we're still learning every day, right? And we're still growing every day, and we're still making mistakes every day, and we're still getting back up and doing that, because
Right,
the time limit that we put on our own lives, that's just silly. It's silly.
right,
An average lifespan is like what, 80, 70? Don't quote me on that. But it's a lot further off. Let's just go with that, you know? And so technically where we are right now, we're in the middle. We're at the climax, at the best part of life. You think that it's like my late 20s, my early 20s, but it's really
right,
not. That's when you're really beginning. And I think if you really look at it that way, all the things that I have learned since my 20s, even maybe high schools, like that has culminated to who I am right now, to this
right.
level of, to this level of greatness. And I mean, and each one of us have that greatness. I remember one time you came and met me at the library, and we're sitting there talking, and I'm like showing you this vision I had and this plan I had and stuff. And obviously, as type A moms, drivers, kind of people, we think we can do all the things ourselves. which we cannot. And the biggest issue is like, I need help. I need help. And I told you then, I said, you know what? It's like, I know that
Right.
I need help, but the people I need help from are also moms like me. They're
Hmm.
also busy. They're also being like human Ubers. They're also doing the laundry. They're also busy. And I feel bad asking someone to help me when I know that they're just as busy and responsible as you. And like, I barely even finished the sentence before you jumped in. You're like, that's a limiting belief. That's a limiting belief. Like, you're like, I'm busy and I'm here and I'm telling you. And I'm like, dang, okay. She's okay. But I really remembered that because it's true. I had already told myself what can't happen, right? I'd
Right.
already told myself this isn't going to work. I can't ask this person, but that was my own limits that I'm placing on myself, right?
Right.
Because other
Right.
people can show up, other people will show up. It's a completely different way of looking at things whenever you also have somebody else in your life, and that in itself is very important to have people in your life who can see things maybe even beyond you, or who can just like tell you the truth. you know I mean, I don't think our
Right.
friendship was like a year old or whatever, but you were just quick to jump in and be like, that's limiting belief.
I think the audience needs to know that we have a little group between it's you, Albina, and myself. And one thing that I also talk about in my book is how important it is that the people that you hang around,
Oh
you
gosh.
cannot hang out with people that are looking to just live and barely make it. And you think, oh, I'm just going to be friends with them and I'll rub off on them. No, no. You need to become friends with women who have what you want. So you
Yeah.
love your family. I admire that. You and Albina are business owners. I love that. So one thing that this group or the audience may not know is when we do this text chain, when we get together, it's not just gossip. We don't sit there talking and
We
whining and
don't.
complaining
We don't.
and, oh, this is bad and my kids are doing this. We don't do that. When we get together, we are brainstorming. It is the type of friendship
Yeah.
that's like, hey, how's it going? How's your life going? But then we are down to business. Okay, how can I help you? What are you trying
What
to
can I do?
accomplish? And that is a nugget. Find your tribe. Find the women that you can get on a text chain with. And when you're getting there together, yes, we do swap funny, adventurous, crazy, way overboard adventures that look like people are going to die. We laugh at it. But
Yeah.
we spend our time really sharpening each other and encouraging each
Right.
other. And it's like how got together and right here at my house, we're like, Albina, you love to cook. You're so good at it. We need to get you a website. Like, we need to do this. So we got together one day. We brought in a makeup artist to my house, get her makeup done. We got her hair. We're sitting here holding a ring light with getting, you bring in your camera. And that's
Yeah.
how we spent our day. And we had
Yeah.
so much fun. But look at what she's doing now just to be able to have a foundation, solid friends that truly care. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you
Yeah.
succeed and hit the top. And that's the type of friends that I think women need to surround themselves with. If somebody gossips, run. If somebody just, when you get around them and you just feel awful and you feel the negativity and you don't see them, oh, the economy is bad. Oh, did you watch this on the news? Oh, did you? No, no, no. That you got to cut that out. If you really want to reach success in life, you have to be careful who you hang out with. I'd rather have less friends who are loyal, who are solid, who have good character,
Absolutely.
who are trying. No one's perfect, but those are the women. That's who I want to be friends with. And the rest of them, I'm okay. I will always be kind and polite, but I will not let you into my inner circle because I can't allow where you're at. You need to work some things through so that you can have a success winning mindset. Then when you come in, now we are rubbing off on each other and we're growing even more. Not we're spending all of our time having to counsel you while you bellyache because you hate your job, you don't like your husband, your kids are doing this, you don't have this.
Yeah.
I don't have where I'm at. That's just the honest truth. I will kindly try to encourage someone, but they're not going to get into my inner circle of friends. I'm very picky. I'm
Yeah.
very choosy just because I've seen how I I see how I get influenced. I am like, I
It makes
can,
a
I get
difference.
easily influenced.
Yeah.
And, but it's, hey, it's a learning process and finding the right team. Yes, for us to grow where we really want to be, we can't do it by we cannot do this by ourselves.
No.
We will need other high thinking, high skilled. I don't want to connect myself with low skill, cheap people. Like labor is what I'm saying. I want
Yeah.
people that are already winning. How do we connect with them? So that way I can actually give of myself more when I am having the right environment of people.
Yeah. You are. My daughter and I have this conversation a lot because she is my clone, and we're very social people, and very easily influenced, and all the things, and we thrive on friendships and connections, and so and she is 11 and she is learning little by little. But I tell her, like, all of us are on this race. If you've ever seen like the Olympics, whenever they're doing the race and they're handing the batons to the next
Yep.
person, right? Like, that person who is meeting them at the same level. If they're trying to reach back for a baton and the person is slower, I mean, where are they going? They're not going forward.
Right.
They're not keeping the
Right.
thing going. They're reaching back. And it's the same way with our relationships. Like, we're all going. We need people. Maybe they're like a step behind you and you can pull them up,
Mhm.
but they've got to
Right.
continue to keep going, right? So we have to have that circle of friends. So she had been telling me recently about this one person that just always has something negative to say, always has something, to like be insulting to her, whatever, or "Oh, I'm just joking, I'm just joking." I'm like, listen, when you leave this person's presence, do you feel higher? Do you feel encouraged? Do you feel inspired? Do you feel that? If you don't, you don't have to be friends. You can be associates. How are you doing? But you don't have to be friends. So what we
Right.
have done is we've created our circle. It's a circle of friends, and this is really important for she and I because, like I said, we're crazy social. Um, the circle in the middle is you. Right on the
Mhm.
outside is God, and family. And then you've got that next circle who are like your great friends, right? Friends who have been your friends for like 5 or more years. That you
Right.
really know, that you really trust, and you're really loyal. And then you've got the next ring, which I think is like ring number 3 or 4. And those are friends that you've met that are good people, but not quite as close, right? So there's only a certain amount of things that we share with those people or tell them because they're good friends and they're good people, but they're not quite as close. Then you have those friends on the outside of the ring who we maybe just met, who are maybe
Mhm.
not friends, but acquaintances. But
Right.
those are the people that we're going to go hang out with, that we're going to tell our secrets to, that we're going to talk to all the time. The people who are the closest to us, the circle, in ring number 2, those are the people who were like, these are our life friends. These are our people. And so we look at it like that. So whenever she meets a new friend, I'll ask her, it's like, what ring are they in? Like, where are they at on the circle?
That's
That's how
good.
we Yeah, where are they at on the circle? Because I think as women, one of the things that we just love to do, like even as a child, we judge the level of our friendship based on how many secrets we tell each other, right? Like when you're small and you're little and you're like, "Oh, I gotta tell you my secret. I gotta tell you." And that's what makes us feel like, "Oh, great, we're so friends." The problem is sometimes you connect with people that you shouldn't, right? And you start
Right.
telling, and as you get older, I'm telling you all my stuff, but I've only known you for a year. I don't really know the character of this person. I don't really know how they are. They just seem to be nice. So, we have to like make judgments. All of us need people, but also what we have is valuable, right? So we need to
Right.
protect that as well, and be smart about how close we let people, in to us,
That's
how we talk
absolutely.
to them. Yeah. So I feel like
Absolutely, for
that's
sure.
something that we definitely keep up with. We always talk about where are those people at the circle. And I will tell her, identify people in my life and be like, this person's in this level. This person, so she can see. Like, if they're in level 2, have you ever heard me talking bad about them? Have you ever seen them talking bad about me? Are we arguing all the time? Are you ever hearing mom and dad say anything? But no, because that's what level 2 friendship looks like, right? That's what it should be. We're not talking about
Right.
anybody, but like these are family
Yeah.
people to us. These are ride or dies. So I think that really matters when we're starting to look at who's in our life. Who's
Mhm.
adding value to our life? Because, as you said, we can't do it alone. We have to have people that are constantly encouraging us and pushing us on and doing all the things, right? So, talk to me quickly about your this next book that you haven't told us about yet. Give us some,
Aha!
give us
I
some
knew you
sneak
were
peek.
going to go there,
I have
Megan.
to. I have to.
Well, so it is the second part to this book. So this one is called Dangerous When a Woman Becomes Fearless. And the next book is titled, I can't believe you're making me, no, you're not making me do it. I'm going to say
Do
it.
it.
So the book is actually called Dangerous 2 When Fearless Becomes Focused. So now it will be the
Ooh.
after you dealt with the fear, now we've set our foundation. Now we're going, baby. Now we're
Oh,
focusing
like
on where
that.
that vision. It's the vision that you'll start just taking off and making things happen. So it's good. It's going to be. I think it is going. I guess I'm a little biased and say, oh, it'll be better than the first book. But I love my first book because this one here, I cried over this book. But there was so much that my heart and soul. I gave up barbecue parties. I gave up birthdays. I gave up so much just to put this book out there. I sacrificed so much of myself and becoming vulnerable and being okay that my life was going to be out there public. I was going to make this public and everybody would be able to see where I suffered and what happened and how, and I'm being honest, and it's going to be forever. So it was very emotional, but I love this book. But I think the second book, it is going to fire people up because when they realize you already have everything you need in order to succeed, you already have it. What do you have in your house? What do you have? What's your natural talent? What's your gifts? You already have it.
So
You were
good.
born with it. Now it's just a matter of believing that you have the capability to do it. You have everything you need, and then you go for it. Make that vision plain, write it down, and then start checking them off. Your kids will thank you for it. Your great great grandchildren will look
Yes.
back and thank you for it.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the moment when you realized you had all the things within you that you need, because I know, like, God has power packed us for where we're going, for our purpose, right? And but there's always that moment where you realize, like, I can do. I always think about Elsa in the movie, in the second Frozen. When she realizes she's that fit and she steps on that star. She's like,
Oh
I'm
yes.
here. Like, this is me. You have that moment. What was that like for you?
I'll just give you a little background because that's a very good question. I was the type of person that I've always wanted people to give me opportunities. I thought if they could only see my potential, they're going to give me a chance. They'll let me work. They'll give me this.
Huh.
And over time, when that didn't happen, and I realized, wait a minute, I have so much I can offer. I have so much to bring to the table. You're not even giving me a chance. And having that rejection over and over and over again, there was that moment that I was standing in front of a mirror saying, wait a minute, Rachel, you start a new table. You start the business. Don't wait for somebody else to
Yeah.
come notice your talent and your
Yeah.
gift here. You're just so wonderful. Let me give you an opportunity. When that moment of standing there saying, like, wait a minute, I have all of this. Am I going to sit around and wait forever? I'm going to wait for somebody to knock on my door and say, hey, I've been looking for you all my life. No, no, no. I realized, no, everything already that I wanted to accomplish, I had dreams, and there was no one else on the planet that believed in those dreams and believed in me more than me. It was me. I realized I believe in this so much,
Yeah.
I can't and rely on someone else. I have to make this happen. So that's what I did. I realized, no, I have it. I have I have things. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I don't consider myself to be better than other people, but I have a lot of things that I recognize. Wait a minute. I'm good at this. I'm good at encouraging. That is a gift for me. I can encourage people. I can be in front of a camera and I'm not afraid anymore. There's these natural things that I started following. Now I'm using them to my advantage. Now I'm using them to grow and help those people around me. That's really it.
Yeah.
It's just realizing that, hey, it's you. You're the answer. God's given you a mission. Not and if he brings those other people to help you accomplish it,
Great.
wonderful. But if they walk out of your life, we release them in love. Please, apparently, we are not supposed to work together, and that's okay. To become okay with people not wanting to work with you, people not believing in your product, people not thinking that you're as good as you are, it's okay. We release them, but now we know who we are. We know we have to make this happen. So we do. We're building this thing. We're building this ship and we're selling.
Right. There's this complete mind shift when you realize, like the power was in me all along. Like I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this moment. But the truth is, like, I've already been power packed with that, And again, I talk about Elsa because Frozen 2 to me was like the greatest aha ever. When you look at it from an entrepreneurial perspective, this is a whole nother talk show. But like, if you just see
Oh,
all
yeah.
these things, her whole life, she thought she held back. She didn't know she was different from everyone else. But who she was all along was enough.
That's right.
It was always enough. You just didn't know and you just didn't see it until that moment when it was just like, boom. And I feel like, thank you, buddy. Thank you. I feel like, that is how we are. All of us women, we have this thing and we're waiting for somebody else to draw it out of us or waiting for someone else to pull it out of us or to say or to give us a chance when we can do that ourselves. Like in 2023 or 2024, when this rolls out, there's no better time like the present. You can literally do anything. Our
That's right.
moms could not do what we're doing. Our moms could not start an online business and decide, oh, I'm going to invest. Oh, I'm going to like have an Airbnb. That's not what our moms could do, right? Like we can do that now. There's literally nothing that you can't do. You've got Google. Google it. Figure it out. Marie Forleo says everything is figure outable. You know, we can do that. It just takes that courage to realize like nobody, I love what you said. Nobody's going to believe in me more than me. Right? Nobody's gonna believe in me more than me. I've got to see it. I've got to step out in it, and I've got to be courageous and live
That's right.
courageous. I love
That's
that so
right.
much.
A
I love
hundred
that.
percent. I agree with you. And there's talking about there's never been a better time. I think even just 50 years ago, how our mothers or grandmothers, they were washing clothes by hands. Or back in the day, I don't even know when a washing machine was invented. I haven't Googled that, but they were having to wash their clothes by hand. Oh my, I don't know if we would make it into like you had to bring us back there, hang up our clothes in the backyard,
No, no,
can and grow your own chickens and having to go grow food is like, wow, what a life. But you're right. We are living in the best times ever.
yeah,
If anybody tells you otherwise, that's not accurate. We have more resources, more things
yes,
at our fingertips that if you're not jumping on it, you will miss out. You will be left behind because it's here. You have everything. There's no excuse. The only one that can put an excuse is us, ourselves, the other person. You can make excuses all day long, but this is the time. This is our moment. This is our moment to wake up, shine, to create, invent. Let's go. This is it. And I hope that people get challenged just by listening to this podcast that this is don't let the time pass you by. You
no.
can do something today. Even if you don't have the money that you need in order to create this massive dream and do all these big things, but there is something that you can do today, even if it's small, even if it's reading a book, and even if it's watching a YouTube video, listening to a podcast to fire you up, even if tomorrow all you're doing is grabbing crayons and drawing out your dream, you could do something. All of us can do something, even if it's small, that will put us one step closer to accomplishing very big things.
I could not possibly agree more. I've got somebody down here trying to play all in my makeup. Hold on a second. Wait, no, no, no. Stop. I'm not going to do that.
Well, yeah.
Make it. There we go. There we go. We got to stop and have the mom moment. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is so good. Like, if you're listening to this and you're still like, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. Listen, that is a limiting belief, period. Anything that stops you from like trying to encourage, start your goals right now is a simple limiting belief. Zachary, come here, please. Makeup's all on my carpet. That's okay. That's okay. We're just gonna, yeah. We're just going to focus again. This is mom life. This is what happens in mom life. So you said if there's one thing that you can do today, one thing that you could do today, and watch a YouTube channel or read a book. How about you stop right now and start by reading Courageous Woman? How about that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
tell everyone how they can get a hold of it and where they can find it at. You talk. I'm going to get makeup.
No worries. So my book, Dangerous When a Woman Becomes Fearless, I sell these on Amazon and it's on Audible. So if you're driving in your car and you need a good listen, the book is also on Audible. And then I also sell them personally when I do speaking engagements. And so if you reach out to me, I will absolutely get you a copy of the book. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook. It's the Rachel Davidson on Instagram, and I think it's just Rachel Davidson on Facebook. So you'll see that. And one question I think that I wanted to cover, because I think we're going to be wrapping up
Yes.
shortly, is off camera. We had talked about what if we had to start from ground zero?
From ground zero. This is the best question everyone has to answer on this podcast. If you're starting from ground zero, you wake up tomorrow, no one knows who you are, you don't have your business, nothing, right? What are the first three things you're doing?
Number one, I probably would have a good cry because that would be awful to have gone through everything that I went through to have to start now.
Start over. Yeah, yeah.
That's true. Once I had my good cry and now I've washed my face and I'm like, all right, now we've got to focus and jump back on that horse. So the first thing I would do is I would completely shut myself out from no entertainment, no YouTube, no Instagram, no TikTok, no Snapchat, no entertainment whatsoever. I would go in my room, I would get my journal, and I would write down what I want my life to look like. If I could have the perfect life, what would that look like? And I would be as
Good.
detailed as possible. Then I would take that and I would read it. And at night, I would listen to myself read my vision. When I would wake up in the morning, I would read it again. Then I would go and actually find people who are winning that are already where I want to be. And I would go chase them down. I will call you. I'm setting up a coffee date. I don't care if I have $3 left in my pocket. I get water, you get coffee. I'm going to figure out a way
We
to
make it work. We make
get
it
you
work.
to talk because at that moment I might be emotional. I might not be thinking clearly. So I would figure out a way to get someone who's where I want to be. And I'll starve. I'll go hungry. But you talk, I will be listening and writing down notes. And then I would start creating a plan. I would create a plan. This is, let's say I want to make $1,000 by the end of the month because I have bills. So I'll write down, I need to make an extra $1,000 this month. And I would write down every idea that would help me get there. And then I would create a plan. And even if my plan sucked and it was awful, it was the worst plan ever, I would still write down my plan. And then the next thing I would do is I would put action behind it. So I would just start putting action. That means if I have to make a phone call and I go knock on a door and it gets slammed in my face and somebody says, no, I'm not interested in what you're selling, I go to the next one. And every day I would just put
Yeah.
action. I would go to bed reading my vision. I would wake up reading my vision. And then I'm going to, during the day, I would start positive self-talk. No, I'm going to do this. No, I can do this. No, this is where I'm going. I am this. This is who I'm going to be. I am this now.
I
I
love
would,
that.
if I had no money, I would go to the Goodwill or the thrift store. I would go buy myself the most professional looking suit that I could find, some sort of something that made me look like a business person. And I would just go start knocking on doors. I would make phone calls and I would never stop until I would get back to where I would want to be. So that's really what I do even today is like I said, in behind the scenes, I grind. I don't stop. I don't quit. It's not like life is perfect because I still have to fight negative thoughts as well. I get tired and exhausted. It's like I don't have it in me today. I don't have the energy to do this today. But then I go back like, no. I look at my phone, I look at my notes, like, wait a minute, we have dreams to check off. Like you've got little birds with four mouths that you're trying to feed. This is no time for you to sit there and boo-hoo and complain and cry. I've got I got a family to take care of. They're relying on me.
Yep.
I can't stop. I have to keep going. I have to be as happy as possible for them so that they can see, no, my mom, she suffered, but you can ask all my children, like, my mama
Yes.
is not lazy. My mama works. My mama hustles. Mama, they probably, I don't know what perspective they have of me just because they watch me grow so much, but they will tell you, mama don't play. Mama is going to get things done, and no matter how long it takes, we don't stop until it's, we don't quit. There's that word quit. I tell my children, I don't, to me, I look at it like a cuss word. In my house, you don't say I can't. That to
Yes.
me, I
Yes.
can't. Oh, that word is like, it's banned from my house. There's
Mhm.
no such thing as the word can't. What, I can't make my bed, it's too hard. Ah, no, no, no. Yes, you can. Millions of people make their beds every day, and you will be the next one. So there's no such,
Yes.
get that out of your vocabulary. Take the word luck out of your vocabulary. I believe in work. I believe in results. And I look at data. I don't look at like, oh, this, I'm just lucky and things just get handed to me. Nothing gets handed to me. I work for everything that I have. So
Yeah.
to me, I earn it. That's it,
Yeah.
Megan. Is like, if we're having a real conversation, this is legit. This is a genuine response. Like, that's where I would do. I would do those things, and if it wouldn't get me the results, then I would go back to the drawing table, and I'm like, okay, what where can I make an adjustment now? What can I implement in my life now? And I would just
Yeah.
make it happen. Make it happen.
I love that. I love what you first started with. I'm cutting everything else out. Like, because the noise is what hinders so much. Cutting out the socials. I'm cutting out a thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the socials. I love to connect with people, but it can also be a real quick trap, right? So it's like, let's cut out the noise. Let's get hyper focused. Let's figure out what it is that we want. I mean, those are the first two steps for everyone. That's why I love this question so much, because I get so many different responses from people, but a lot of them are right around the same thing. Like, I've got to shut it down. I got to shut it down. I got to get real. I got to talk about what my goals are, talk about where we're going, and then, start making solid moves. Love it so much. Love you so much. Love you for sharing your time with us, because this has been spectacular. And he just turned my light off. That's cool. He's
Like,
doing
my
his thing.
turn.
He's doing his thing. This is professional right here. Okay. It doesn't get more professional than this. Anyway.
That's right. Love
But
you, Megan. I'm so
love
glad.
you.
We got to spend time today just sharing our hearts and opening up. And I hope people will see how much we truly care about them and how it's
Yes.
genuine for us, like to see other people succeed and make it. I don't like to see people suffer. So I know you and I just spending this time together, it's refreshing, it's inspiring.
Yes.
And you want to get out, it's like, hey, I got to go work and hustle. We still
That's
have the
it.
rest of the day. We've got things
Right?
to do.
We got things. We got a
Go
world
get
to
a little.
change. We got a world to change. That's it. Listen, if you want to get in touch with Rachel, if you want to order her book, which you should, shh, we're being professional right now, Zach. All the information is just below on the screen, her website, how you can order all the things. Rachel Davidson, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Megan.
You're welcome.
Bye.